Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Ian from Futrwrk, CMO there with them. How are you doing today, Ian?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Ernesto?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for asking. And well, let's kick it off, right? I'm sure listeners are tuning in, wondering what Futrwrk is all about. So, in your own words, Ian, can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, we just make it really simple and easy for HR recruiters to find quality people to fill roles. That's it at the end of the day, Ernesto. And we do that via advanced algorithms and some other, fancy jargon. But at the end of the day, we find quality candidates for those open job recs in high skilled areas.
Definitely, that's super important, right? I think that there's sometimes where companies are looking for somebody and they take months and they can't find it. So definitely good luck helping
You
us
spend
with
time. Yeah, you spend time on LinkedIn. Do you see how many candidates are applying to each job roles? There's hundreds.
Yep.
And, we're talking to recruiters every day, and the amount that are actually qualified for each of those roles is significantly lower than the amount of people that are applying for those, if
I
you
would
believe
agree. Yep,
it.
I totally. I mean, I was in charge of at one point in another company where we would receive a lot of applicants. I was like, oh man, there's going to be someone, right? And after
Yep,
filtering, I was like, oh my God, there's not really no one, right? Let's go out and find again. So it really is a little bit stressful. So great,
it
great,
is
great, great.
tricky.
So that way our listeners can get a good understanding of future work. Would it be fair to say then? Well, you might mention it then. What would be the key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Yeah, so basically, tech, healthcare, finance, right? You have job requirements that need high skilled workers. Maybe they need to know Python, PHP, AWS, or need something specific. But you need all three, maybe five, 10 skills for each of those specific roles, right? Maybe even in your growth marketer. And you need people that have the exact experience, right? Those job experience, time in those seats. And you'll send out, a job rec on LinkedIn or, somewhere in your network, and you'll get a bunch of applicants, and you'll sift through, and maybe 5, 10, maybe actually fit that experience, and you screen them, and ultimately you only have like one or two quality candidates at the end of the day, right? Ernesto is kind of the gist of how it goes.
Yep, definitely.
So what we do is basically have a skill matching requirement and an experience matching requirement. So when a HR professional posts a job, they can put a threshold. It needs to match 50%, 75%, 100%, even down to 0% if you want to open it up that much. So that way you only get the candidates with them, the right skill set that you need and you want to see for that hiring manager. So then it kind of cuts out the astronauts, the clowns that are applying that you're like, hey, we shouldn't be interviewing these guys anyways. This is taking a lot of time. So it goes and finds actual quality candidates at the end of the day. So once you post that job, you put the threshold, you put the requirements, you post it, and then instantly it will auto apply the quality candidates that we have in our database in our network. And that way you get, 5 to 10 quality candidates instantly that fit that job match and skill requirement necessary needed to apply.
Definitely, that's super important. And so then, what would be then a good candidate for you guys, or is it more of the recruiters? What would be like the vertical segment? What's the ICP like look for you guys there?
Yeah, high growth tech companies are definitely in there. You're having multiple job roles open. You have multiple recruiters, multiple HR professionals working on, filling a lot of seats. And they also need high skills. So we're working in industries like tech, finance, and healthcare that have to have these exact skills, right? It's not necessarily retail or anything like that where, there is high turnover, but the skills necessary for those jobs aren't as high. So our value proposition really, really is on that auto apply based on the skill and experience matching criteria from the job posters.
Definitely. Okay, perfect. Awesome. And so how would somebody usually find out about future work? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys, Ian?
Yeah, so we're fairly new, Ernesto. We're just going to market this quarter. We're just launching. And we're doing our acquisition channel basically through LinkedIn and then SEO and social and a couple other social channels. But our ICP lives on LinkedIn, so that's where we're hanging out the most. And then yeah, some other kind of distribution methods as well.
Definitely great to hear that. And so that way our visitors, I mean, you just mentioned launched in this quarter. So then that way our visitors could go ahead and visit you guys. They could visit you at Future, that's FUTRWRK.com, futurework.com. What role then does the website play for any potential recruiters, for anybody that's a developer? What role does the website play for that?
Yeah, exactly. So this is where it gets a little complicated because we market to job seekers and HR professionals, right, that are posting that job. So we got to figure out and segment the audience based on who they are and what they came for. So we want to basically funnel the HR pros, the recruiters, into one segment and give them specific copy, specific terminology, what the problems they have, right? And then the job seekers, right? We need to give them specific copy, why they should sign up, what's the value proposition in Futrwrk, why they should fill out their information on another job site at the end of the day, right? So we have to be able to be crystal clear on our messaging depending on what the problem is and who's visiting.
Definitely. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. And is there any tools or tips or methods as far as some marketing efforts that you would recommend to our listeners?
Yeah, so again, we're a little early, just straight up guerrilla marketing style, right? Bootstrap budget. A lot of it's just grinding out. What we're doing primarily, right, is running our LinkedIn campaigns, going through conversational direct messaging strategies, right? Just being super conversational in our copy and basically our targeting, meeting the people where they're at, being really like leading with empathy, especially if they got that green banner up and they're a job seeker type. We need to be able to express, like, hey, go sign up for this. This could help you out. It can do some of that work on the back end for you. And that's been really successful for us and being able to just get in people that way. And then on the website side, right, is finding out intent. From an HR professional strategy, a lot of people are using Greenhouse. Greenhouse has a really good stronghold on the market right now. So we're talking to a lot of HR professionals that are using Greenhouse or Lever, or Workday or some sort of application tracking system, trying to figure out what the problems they're having, and then being able to, again, expand our copy and our website to be able to tailor that messaging to them, and then figure out exactly where they're coming from, what they're using today, and how ours can help bolster that. So a lot of, again, very individualized, a lot of personalized depending on where they're coming from and the current use of tools.
Definitely. Okay. All right. And well, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about you as a leader, you being the CMO there for the company. Might be, kind of hand to hand what you were mentioning, but what are some key tasks you focus on your day-to-day work?
Yeah, so I've had an eclectic background, Ernesto. I actually started out as a software engineer. I pivoted into product management and then ended up in sales and marketing over the last 5 years, and really came in and figured out a lot of different growth strategies through sales and marketing. And just, there's a lot of great content and a lot of great mentors that I've been, fortunate enough to utilize. And what my day-to-day is really just figuring out where the next sale is going to come from. What are we going to do to catalyze on those opportunities? How are we going to get the next one? So a lot of my day-to-day focus is talking to customers, talking to prospects, understanding and empathizing, and then restructuring that and utilizing in our marketing messaging, our tactics, making it super seamless, super efficient to be able to buy from us. We use both a product-led growth motion and a sales-led growth motion. Again, very guerrilla style at the moment. And on top of that, again, just talking to customers, understanding their frustrations in today's society, right? If we would have talked to them a year or two ago, a lot of people were riding the wave. The tech bubble was going up. People weren't, and now we're in kind of a different area where a lot of people have been laid off, or they're cutting. It's not growth at all costs. It's not sexy anymore. A lot of people are chasing profitability. So how can we make sure that that stays in line with what they're going for and how they're moving?
Totally. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Great to hear that. And well, let's jump into our next section here, Ian, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Yeah.
Awesome. First off, Ian, what is the last book that you read?
Last book I read was The Hard Thing About Hard Things.
All right. Great. Yep. For our listeners. Next is, what is one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment the most?
Acquisition. Getting our first 100 clients.
All right, perfect. Next is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
That would be just figuring out intent. It's like, really, what are they looking for right now? What's top of mind? What's their biggest problem?
I think that's every marketer's dream, right?
Yeah. Just give me that insight. Just tell me what their problem is so I can bring something to solve it.
Next, Ian, is if there was one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Basically, just conversational AI, but still has my voice, still is personalized, still like the human component. Again, like living in the DMs and looking at outreach, having that customized would be awesome.
All right, awesome. And well, lastly, I mean, you mentioned, right, you just started in this company, the company is fairly new, but you have some experience already, as you mentioned. So what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you're going to restart your journey as a marketer today?
That's a tough one, Ernesto. If I was to restart as a marketer today, I would find a mentor way earlier in your career about marketing. I found my marketing gurus a little bit later in life. Again, as I kind of talked about, I had an eclectic background, and I would find a mentor earlier in my career for the marketing component.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Great advice there for everybody. Well, Ian, it's been a pleasure to have you on today's show. I do want to give you the last word before we end. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about your company?
We're led by humans at the end of the day, and we ultimately want everyone to find that quality role that they can grow in their career. We want to match the highest quality candidates with the highest quality companies.
Definitely awesome to hear that from you guys. Like I mentioned, you could always check them out at futrwrk.com. That's Futrwrk. Post jobs, get candidates for free. Ian, thank you so much for being on with us. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Path Monk Presents.
Thanks, Ernesto.
Thanks, Ian.